Okay, guys, we're making yeast rolls, and what I've done so far, I don't know what happened to the video, but we took 1/4 of sugar, a cup of milk, a stick of butter, and we're going to put 2 eggs in this. And this calls for 5 cups of flour. Let's see if I can do that. There's 1 egg. 2 eggs. Now, I've got my flour set over here. I've done put my yeast in it. I use the active dry yeast. A stick of butter, non-salted. Or if you use salt in the butter, I've learned to use the sea salt. And I'll show you how that's done. But these are the yummy rolls that I've been making, and they are the best yeast rolls. So, a cup of milk, warmed. I warm it in the microwave for about 30 seconds. 1/4 of salt or not salt, but sugar. I put it to your flavoring. And then 2 eggs and my yeast. We're going to mix all that together. And then, let me get my... Now, when we go to, I use the unbleached flour. We're going to add just a little bit in there at a time. Not a whole lot. We're going to mix it. Get it around them sides good. Mix that. Now you're going to mix a little bit of the unbleached flour a little at a time. And you're not going to put the whole 5 cups in there. You're going to save you some of that. I've worked on these, and that's where I was messing up. I was using the whole 5 cups of flour in it, and then I was having to put some on the counter and all that, and add a little, so I was putting too much of the unbleached flour in there. So I learned that as I went. We're not going to add that salt just yet. This is how I do mine, and they're delicious. We're going to mix that up really good. Guys, I've worked on these yeast rolls until I finally got them right. My kids loves them. My grandkids love them. So see how it's starting? And make sure your milk is warm. And now I'm going to say this much flour. That's probably a 1/2 cup maybe. We're going to go ahead and mix the rest of this in there. Make sure you scrape them sides of your bowls good. Anything warm, it activates that yeast. So make sure your milk is... I put my milk on 30 seconds in the microwave to get it a little warm. And then I put my eggs in some just hot water from the sink, just to get them a little warm also. And now you can see as my flour is, or my mixture is getting a little thick. So we're going to keep doing this until we blend it all in. Now, my mixture, you can see it. I've been mixing it for a while. It's sticky, and that's how you want it. You want it to stretch. See there? You want to keep doing that until it is like that. See how it's starting to do? Now, I've got my flour out on the counter. Let's pat that down. And what I do is where I know I'm going to pour my mixture out at, I sort of put it in a circle, flatten it all out. That way it won't stick and you get a good texture in that dough. Okay. Now I'm going to turning it around here in a minute. If I can set my thing in it. Now I'm going to get this mixture out of my bowl here. They ain't easy, guys, but I conquered it. And they are yummy, and they are delicious. Now see how all that went? See how it stretches? That's what you want. Get it all out of my bowl. It's a stretch, and that means it's good. Let's see. Alright, now, what you want to do is take you a little bit of your flour, sprinkle the top. You're going to make sure your hands is good and flour, because I'm telling you guys, this stuff is sticky. Now, here's what I do. Great tool right here, even the little ones. What I do, I have learned to fold it, get all of it. And in a minute, we're going to... Hey folks, you're not going to believe it. This one is crazy. This is how I keep doing it for a few minutes until, so it won't be so messy on the hands. Because if you don't, it can become messy. I give it a little stab in the middle and cut it, and then refold it. Mash it down, refold it, mash it down, fold it back this way, mash it down. I just sit and work with it for a few minutes, every which way they are, until all that dough is not as sticky. Because now, this is what I do with my sea salt. My butter had salt in it, so I have learned when it does use the sea salt. Sprinkle it on there. Now, I'm going to knead it a little. If you see it sticking, get you a little bit of flour and just sprinkle on your countertop. Nothing major. Ain't going to hurt your bread, because remember, we only used 4 cups of flour, so that left us a little to play with our dough with. And you're just going to push it. Take the heels of your hand and just push it in there. Turn it. I roll mine in a ball, turn it over, and I do the same thing. I'm going to show you something when we get this done. It's sticking, use your thing. Get it off your counter. Sprinkle you just a little bit of flour on there. Won't hurt it at all. So let's dive into it, folks. So this major hacking attack is not just some random group. This is Chinese state-sponsored. I know everybody's got their own way of doing these yeast rolls, but right here is my easiest way I've learned to do it, and it works. They're great. It takes some work. Sitting in rooms, doing what they're told, because we don't see any. They're not easy to do, but boy, are they good. Now you want to mash it, turn it. You want to keep doing that until I'll show you when. Let's get that flour over here. Get some flour on my hands. Remember, guys, I'm using the unbleached flour. I've seen them made with self-rising and all that. But the unbleached flour, it just, I don't know, it works for me. Maybe it don't work for everybody, but it does for me. We're going to keep doing it. until I'll show you when. Now you can do this too much and they will be hard. You're just going to keep folding it. Each corner. Remember, fold, hit, fold, hit. Use your thing to keep it from sticking so much. Now, keep them hands flat because it ain't going to hurt it. It's starting to stick a little on me on the counter because I ain't got no flour much out. They started trying to acquire, like I said, passwords, account names, everything like that. So we're now looking at hundreds of companies and government entities. These are. I do this right here until, wait, and I'll show you how, until when. Okay, you got your, I'm just knocking that excess flour off. You got your perfect ball of dough there. If you bring this, well, I should have done it this way. See how that just stretches? I'm pushing it a little too hard, but that's the texture you want. It wouldn't hurt to do a little bit more because it did tear on me there. Put my hands up again. Like I said, guys, I'm not perfect at this, and a lot of people's probably thinking, Lord God, what is she doing? That ain't how I do it, but this is how I do it, and it works wonders for me. Now, see how your dough just won't tear? When it gets to that point, you want to put it, just drop her right back in there. Now, when you get to that, you've got this. Now, you want to keep it warm because we all know yeast will rise with warmness. Now, the other day, the sun was shining bright, and I did take it outside. I put plastic over it, went outside, my plastic wrap, and just left it for a few minutes. But you're going to leave this, what I'm going to do today, because it is cloudy, got my kitchen warm. I'm going to put a towel over this, and I'm going to let this set for an hour, hour and a half, until we cut it. So, with that being said, remember I use the active yeast, one whole pack of it. I use 1/4 of the sugar, and that's whatever to your liking. And then I use a cup, measure it out, a cup of warm milk. And then 2 warm eggs. Warm it in water for a few minutes if you have to. Or if you know you're going to do them, just get them out of the refrigerator and let them get at room temperature. And then I use a stick of butter. Now, I have been using the salted butter. And that's why I've been using my sea salt. And all I done was sprinkled a little bit of my sea salt onto my dough as I was rolling it out, getting it ready. Now, after that, I will show you what to do next. Remember, these are the delicious rolls, guys, and they are awesome. I will be back to you in about an hour, hour and a half. We're going to wait till this maybe doubles its size, and before we get it back out. So stay tuned. I will show you what to do next. All right, guys. I set this in the window where the sun was, and you can see how it's rose. It's I'd say a good double in its size that it was. Now, what you want to do is take your finger and do that. If it pops back up, see how it's rising back up? That means it's pretty well ready to do. See how it's rising? That's how you want it to do. Okay, now I'm going to set this up here. See if I can do this. Okay, we're going to get it out. We're going to shake this here thing. Let's see, guys. Now we're going to put her out. Usually if you get it started, it'll come out by itself like that. It's really sticky. Now see my bowl? It come out good. Now what we're going to do is, I always just flounder my hands a little bit and rub the top just a little bit like that. Now we're going to take this. Where's my egg? We're going to cut them individual. Now you use your own judgment on how thick or how big you want your rolls, because they are going to rise again. Now you can see these are about that size, and what we're going to do is cut these again. This is my way, guys, of doing these yummy rolls. They can be real sticky. Now, they're cut. I don't know if y'all can see that. They're cut like this. Now, what I do, after I do that, is I cut them again. Again, this is my way. This is how I found to be the easiest. And remember, everything that you add in these, make sure it's room temperature, got a little heat to it, because heat does make the yeast rise. That's why I guess I like putting them in my window after I do it, because it will rise better. If you've got a cool place, you know, set it in your window. If your kitchen's hot, won't have no problems. Now, what you do, I always keep flour on my hands, is this. I tuck it again, and I hold it like this, and I give it a little squeeze, see? Then you got this little, I want to say mushroom on the bottom, and what you do, just play with it there a minute, get it all pretty. You can roll it in your hands. Again, I might flatten it, tuck it. Then I may get it again and just make it pretty. And then I'll take it and roll it a little in my hand like this on the counter. Now I do make little ones, some of the little ones, because I do have some kids. So then I make the big ones first. So you want it like that. And put it in your greased pan. I'll show you that in a minute. Now I'm going to do one for us adults. Again, you just fold it. And like I do, I get it like this. And I just give it a good squeeze. See how pretty that is? And then you got this little cone on the bottom. Now what you can do, this is what I do. Again, everybody's different at making these, but this is my way. I might play with it a little and get it pretty. Get it a pretty roll. Got got your pretty roll. Put it in your grease pan. Now what I do is I line 3 in each roll in my cooking pan. Again, roll it, fluff it, then I just turn it over and I give it a good squeeze. See how pretty that is? Then you got your little cone on the bottom. And what I do is I sit there and play with it till it's just a pretty roll. Now, if you leave gaps, say if I put that in my pan like that, when it goes to rise, that is going to be opened in your pan. So you want to try to fix that, which there's nothing wrong with it. They're still pretty, but I know us ladies likes her food to be pretty on Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so what I do is just, this in here is not one. Okay, here we go. Now I just put it in my pan. See how pretty that is? And I'm going to put it on the top. Like I said, I make some small ones because I do have kids. The more you pat and the more you stir this dough, I have learned that it does wonders. So again, we're just going to make another pretty roll. Now, the first time I made these, they looked like biscuits, but they had a really good taste. And I didn't give up. I said, I am going to conquer the yeast roll. And I did. And after I did it a couple of times, they weren't as hard as you thought they'd be. We got us another pretty roll. Always leave you space in your pan because you're going to let them rise again. And keep doing that until all your dough is made out. Now, I've got mine made out, and like I said, I've got kids, so I do make some small ones. What time my dough was rising in the bowl, you make you an egg wash, and this will make the prettiest brown tops on those. Now you keep doing each roll that way. Get you plenty on there so they'll be pretty on the top, pretty and brown. I know a lot of people, you can use butter after that. I know a lot of y'all thinking, why eggs? Well, you'll see. These will make the prettiest colors. See that spot on that one? If you want to, you can rub that out. Okay. Make sure you get that whole top with your egg wash. I guess that's what I call it. I love using this to put my egg bath and stuff on because, I don't know, to me you can get it to the tops and just get it really on the top really nice. And like I said, what time your dough is rising, I get my eggs out and I beat them in a bowl. That way they'll get room temperature because, like I said before, heat will activate that yeast and make it rise good. And the sun was out, so put it in a window. Like I said a while ago, I even put mine, the last batch I made, I put them outside with a plastic wrap on top and let that heat just work on that yeast, and they was so pretty. I know this is a time-consuming, yeast rolls is time-consuming. You got to have some patience with it. I'm going to get that one again up there. I like getting mine good with that egg wash on the tops. Just make sure your eggs are, that they are at, I'm going to throw that one in a little. I don't like the way this side of that one looks. See, now it looks good. Okay, guys. Now, you're going to let this sit another 20-30 minutes. What time they're setting, you're going to let them rise some more. What time they are rising some more, go ahead and start preheating your oven to 375. And you can actually set these on top of your stove. That way the heat can still hit them, and they'll rise more what time the oven is getting warm. So let's keep these in this for 25 to 30 minutes before they go into the oven. I'll get back to you as soon as they go in the oven. Now I have let these set 20-25 minutes. My stove is on 375. It's already preheated. They're ready to go in the oven. Now, what I like doing, this is me, I'll check them every once in a while and just get that golden brown on the bottom. When they get golden brown and they rise real pretty, I'll put my oven on broil on low, just for that top to get pretty and brown. And then sometimes if I'm in a hurry and I see they're done and I want them a little browner, I'll move that broil up on high. But if you do that, you best keep your eye on them, because you don't want them to burn. Because that egg wash on the top of these, they will get brown really fast. So if you put that on broil on high, you keep your eye right on that stove, your rolls, so they don't get too brown on top. Now, I've had these on the stove. You can see they've rose some more, and the stove top is a little warm because of the oven. My little ones is for the kids, because I know they can't eat these when they get really big. Because mine, I like them really, I like them when they rise real high up. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to put them in the oven and see what these babies look like when we're done. So go ahead and put them in the oven. Yeah, you hear James in the background. He loves his mama's yeast rolls. So now, so now we're going to put them in this oven. My oven's already preheated. I've had them out 20-25 minutes. So we're going to slip them in that oven. And like I said, I wait until they look like a golden brown on bottom. And then I'll switch my broil on low to start browning that top really good. The first time I started making them, I was putting them in the oven to let them bake. And then by the time they all browned, the bottoms were, to me, too brown. And I don't like that. So I've learned to do it this way. Put them in the oven, 375. Let them bottoms get a golden brown. And then switch your broil on to low. And then wait till they rise real pretty. And then if you want to switch over to high, that's totally up to you. I do for just a second or two, just to get that pretty dark look on the top. Not too dark, just enough to say those are pretty yeast rolls.